even when I found my property, I wasn't actually dead set on that area. It was just that it was the right property, because it took a lot of time to get to that point of deciding the area.
How did you find dealing with the estate agents?
I think they see that we're young and they think we don't know what we're looking for. Definitely before even speaking with estate agents, get prepared for research, because that's what I want people to know, that it's difficult but it's worth it.
Good for you.
So maybe if Move IQ was around, that would be where I would go to and everything would be sorted out for me.
At Move IQ, we're running a campaign to help and support first-time buyers across the UK, and indeed to try and lower the age that first-timers are able to successfully navigate themselves onto the housing ladder. As part of this campaign, I'm interviewing people that have been through that process and to try and hear about their experiences of first-time buying. Today, I'm joined by Jade Vanriel, who has just been through it. Jade, congratulations on your first-time buy.
Thank you so much.
Tell me, you were living in London, living at home or renting?
Yes, so I was living in London at home from birth, in central London, and then I went off to uni in Birmingham and I studied law and I wanted to be a lawyer, and by the second year I thought, no, this is not for me. So my goal was to finish uni and just go straight into working, but from the age of 16 I had always been working and saving, and it was my dad constantly in my ear of save everything you make. So
did you know what you were saving for?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
It was just, and I think that's what was hard about it, that I didn't actually have a goal, but I just did it anyway. Not all the time, but along the way I started saving up. And so throughout uni, I was working and I was saving. I'd come to London, summer holidays, and I'd be saving until I was deciding I didn't want to be a lawyer. And I said, I'm not going to do postgrad study and do, more studying, getting to more debt. I'm going to go and get a job and amp up the saving for my own home, because by that point I felt very independent and I didn't want to go back home to my mum.
How old were you at this point?
So I was about 19, 20.
Okay.
I didn't want to go back home because I got so used to living alone.
Yeah.
So I wasn't quite ready to live alone. So I went and stayed with my aunt in her spare room, and I was helping her out. So I was paying about £300-400 a month. But I got quite a good job.
That's extraordinarily difficult to do in London with your first job, albeit a good job, to pay rent and save money.
Yes.
I mean, most people don't manage it. How did you pull it off?
And I still don't know how I did it, but I definitely sacrificed a lot of things. So of course, when you finish uni, you're free, you want to have fun. All of my friends were doing all of that. I wasn't. I was at home watching everyone online, having fun, and I was just saving and saving. And look, the one thing that kept me motivated was to just browse houses and just think, one day, this is what I'm doing this for.
I thought you were going to say watching property shows on Channel 4. But...
Well, that too. Anything to do with properties that was going to just put me into the mindset of I'll have that one day. That's what I was doing, and people around me didn't understand. My friends just thought I was like crazy, like you're supposed to be having fun, you're young, but I just didn't see it that way. I was just so focused on getting my own home.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
I think our generation, well, our parents' generation made huge sacrifices in order to save up for their first time.
Yes.
They really did.
Yeah.
And today, we're not used to waiting for things, are we? We want it now, and if we don't want it now, then I might change my mind.
It's not worth it.
But you waited and you made those sacrifices.
Yeah, I did. And it wasn't easy.
How much did you save?
I saved in total roughly £28,000.
Did you really?
Yes, and people always ask me how long did it take me. I always say about 7 years, because I had been saving all that time. It may not have been as much, but I was saving continuously throughout college and uni, and then the 2 years.
And
working.
you still had a nice time and a nice life.
And I still got to enjoy things here and there, but just not like everybody else.
You made it your mission to save up for a home.
Yes.
Did you have a target? Did you know how much you were trying to save?
I had no idea. I remember having some money and thinking I'm nowhere near what I need to have. And I set up a meeting with a mortgage broker to say, and I was expecting him to say, no, you need to keep saving for a few more years. And he was just like, you're ready to start looking now. And so it all just happened all at once.
How old were you now?
I was 21 when that meeting happened. And so it was about a year before I found a good property.
Tell me about your search. So you've done a really incredible thing. I mean, I absolutely take my hat off to you that you managed to save up that level of deposit whilst living in London. You told the mortgage broker, you got things organised, you worked out a budget.
Yes.
What was next?
Next was deciding where it was going to be that I was going to look, and I knew for a fact that I couldn't afford London. So my next best thing was surrounding areas of London, and Essex popped out to me just because I had known a few people that had lived in Essex, which is huge, but it seemed more familiar to me. So I sort of honed in on that county, and looked all over Essex, from Grays to Harlow to Brentwood, just all over.
So is this you on the internet or driving around
talking
to people?
This is me on the internet, booking viewings, having viewings every weekend. That was my life. Every single Saturday I'd had about 3-4 bookings back to back, and that's literally all I did, was search and search online and have alerts in my emails every day. And it was a real project for me.
Did you enjoy it?
I did.
How many places did you think you saw?
I think in total I probably saw about 30 to 40 different flats, and I was looking for 1-bed flats because I thought that's all I could afford. And for me that was more than enough. Just having my own space was enough. It was like my own home. But in the end I actually got to find a 2-bed flat in my budget, which was quite a shock. So yeah.
Did you have to make compromises on area or something to get the 2-bed?
I did. I mean, when I found my property in an area I did not look at all. I just didn't know about it. For that reason, I just didn't look at it. I didn't know anyone that had talked about it, was familiar with it. So in a way I sacrificed in terms of going to an area that was unknown. But it's actually worked out really well for me in the end. And now I have a friend that's just moved down the road from me. So now it doesn't feel so far away from everyone.
You're a pioneer, Jade. Everybody will be following you. I mean, actually, it's something I've often encouraged first-time buyers to think of, is where are your friends buying? Because everyone does research. Not many people do as much research as you've done. But actually, you will find the value. You
will, and I feel like I have now. And just seeing the area developing within the last 2-3 years that I've been there, things have changed so much, and I'm seeing more and more people looking at the area as a place to buy, and so it makes me feel like I made the right choice.
Good for you. How did you focus your requirements down? Because you said you started by searching in Essex, which is huge.
So I had a notebook, and all of my followers laugh when I mentioned the notebook because they know what went down in the notebook. I had, for every property that I would be interested in or I'd see online, I would write a list of all of the things that it does have, that it doesn't have. And what I started realizing is, for my budget, for someone that needs to be able to commute very quickly at a decent money each month, because it is very expensive, I just started shifting to different places, and I was looking at what was around in the areas. I was very focused on future developments as well. That was just something that I really, because as I said, I did want a project, so I knew that it wasn't going to be in the perfect place. So I would research what's happening in the future and that kind of thing. And
but it's quite daunting because you didn't know Essex. You were living in North London. You didn't know anyone.
I didn't know anything. No. So Google was my best friend, and just Googling so much different things about the average house prices and looking at what the properties were sold for before. Well,
if only Move IQ had started by that time, you could have had one of my property reports, and it would have all done for you.
That would have been so helpful because I had no life. So maybe if Move IQ was around, that would be where I would go to, and everything would be sorted out for me. So because it took a lot of time to get to that point of deciding the area. And even when I found my property, I wasn't actually dead set on that area. It was just that it was the right property. So I just went with that rather than the location, which I know a lot of people would do the other way around.
There's no right or wrong, and I meet people all the time. So for some people, it's the property that's more important. Some people, it's the area. You've got to fit the both. But you chose the property.
I chose the property.
You didn't know the areas anyway.
I didn't know the area at all.
But
so
it sounds like the area's worked out well.
It's worked out well. It's very peaceful, very quiet, and I'm seeing so many things developing around. So
exactly what you wanted. How did you find dealing with the estate agents? Because you are quite young, first time buyer. They wouldn't have been dealing with too many 22-year-olds. I think they see that we're young and they think we don't know
what we're looking for. We don't know how everything works. And to an extent, that's true. So I think definitely before even speaking with estate agents, get prepared for, research yourself. So you do know what you're looking for and they can't sway you towards things that are out of your budget or in areas that you're not looking for. You have to be quite stern to get your point across. And that's what I found after a while, not at the beginning. I would be sent properties. Sometimes they wouldn't actually send the properties. They would just say, you're coming down this Saturday for another one that you do like. I've got some other ones for you to see afterwards. And there was one in particular that I took my dad to, and we walked in and the place was just damp. It didn't have central heating, so it had plug-in heaters. And that was on my list. So you have to definitely know what you're looking for, because they will they can try to sell you anything if you don't know what you want. So, I
often say you can't be upset with someone for doing their job.
For doing their job. That's their job, to sell a property.
How did you go about demonstrating your organisation and your commitment to the estate agents? Because I think that's part of the process.
I would ask a lot of questions, and I would also, I think by asking the questions of the properties, so in terms of what's this, the service charge on this property, because it was a flat. These are the questions that let them realise that you do know what you're talking about and you do know what you're looking for. So questions like that, questions about the area, questions about the lease, all of these things I would find out before I even went to see the property. And so they knew that they were speaking with someone that did know something. Did you let them know how your finances were arranged? No, I didn't. But I did have my mortgage in principle set up, so they knew that was ready and everything was sorted out. Solicitor on standby? Solicitor on standby.
Which they knew?
Yes, they knew. So I think that's what helped. Yeah.
When you walked into that flat, did you know it was the right one?
I did.
Straight away?
Straight away. I took my dad because the year of looking at properties was very emotional. I'd have times at work where I'd be crying in the toilets because I just got gazumped, for example. And I was very emotionally attached to this because this was my dream. So I definitely got my dad to come along with me as much as he could, because he was very impartial and very strategic in his thinking. So he could spot the problems with the property or the pros and cons before I could. And so this property that I bought, I took my dad and we both walked in and we just looked at each other and I was so shocked. I mean, it looked horrible. It had different colour walls, different wallpaper, the floor smelt. They had so many different pets in that 2-bed flat, so you could imagine it wasn't ideal at all. But the layout of it, the sizes of the rooms, I just thought, oh my gosh, I have to have this. And that was an open day. I was the first person to get there. I think there was about 9 other people after me to see it. But by that point, I had seen so many that I loved, but they were like half the size of that one. So that one was, I felt like that was the one, definitely. So you said you had seen lots that you liked. Yes. I had seen lots that I liked, probably because I just liked a lot of everything. You just like properties? I just like properties, and to me it was, I could just walk into one and imagine myself there straight away without looking properly at the structure and all these different things that my dad would talk about. And so by that point when we saw that one, it was so much bigger than all the others that it felt really right. I just felt like my dad couldn't say anything bad about this one, because even though it smelled, even though it looked horrible, I had a vision for it. And was there competition for it? If you saw it on open day and there were lots of other people crawling all over it? So I was the first one there, so nobody else was there yet. So I think that's what made it really calm for me and made me think I could get it, because there was nobody else there walking around. And funny enough, you say that, the other ones that I had seen just the week before that had swamps of people all in there, and that feeling does make you feel like, oh, I have no chance, you know. But we were the first people there, and as we were leaving, more people were coming in. So and then what happened? Talk me through the deal. Once that happened, I knew I wanted it. That was on a Saturday. I wanted to put an offer in straight away, but they always say, call us on Monday and give us your offer, etc. So at that point, was like, I'm willing to just offer everything because I really want this one. I don't care how much it's going to be. It can be right at the top of my budget. I don't mind, even though I had to do so much to the property because it wasn't livable.
How much was it? How much were they asking?
So it was up for 180.
Yeah.
And I think I offered originally 172, something random like that.
Yeah.
And a little bit more started happening, and then it was between me and one other person, and then eventually we settled on 177, and they were happy with that. And they told me that I wasn't the highest bidder, which was very strange, but the reason they went for me is because I had everything ready to go. Yeah, so that was
fantastic.
like
Which is an endorsement of all the effort and preparation and time.
Exactly, and all the research and everything that happened beforehand.
I've, on behalf of clients, won quite a number of sealed bids without having the highest offer. And it is about preparation.
Yeah.
And people want to do business with somebody that they feel that is going to perform and can perform on the deal.
Yeah.
Oh, so it all worked out remarkably well.
And I mean, it wasn't, I was expecting that I'd be in a few months, but or a month or two, but they actually had tenants in there, so I had to wait for their tenancy to end, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I really hope that they don't back out, but it was fine in the end. I just had to wait. I think they had a 2-month notice, so I had to wait for that, but I was so impatient at the time, and now I just think, what's 2 months? But at the time it felt like forever.
Given how well prepared you were and everything else, I think I know the answer to this, but had you researched your mortgage options in advance?
Yes, I had it all ready with my mortgage broker. We had it all set out. It was just a matter of finding the property within this budget, and I'm good to go. Yeah. And
any hiccups on the way through? Surveys, solicitors, that kind of thing?
Yes, I mean, not with this one, but with one just before that I had put an offer in. I sent a survey out, and the surveyor came back and said it's not worth what you've offered. 20 grand less it's worth.
Right.
And the seller did not want to go down. They didn't want to negotiate, so I ended up losing my money for the survey. So that does happen. Which is horrible, but I always say, it was worth it in the end, because I then found the right one and it was worth it. With the one that I purchased, it was very smooth. Compared to everything else that had happened before that, it was a breeze.
I wonder if that's because it was owned obviously by a landlord, because it was tenanted. So there was no onward chain. There was also no emotional commitment.
It was just like, take it. And I know you can't always choose what situation you're going to be in, but I think that's what really helped, is that there was no emotional connection for them. They just wanted to get it over with. And
then I'd be interested to hear, because I think it is a very special moment in anyone's life, when you pick up the keys and you walk through that door.
I'll tell you, it was an amazing week. So I'm very date driven, and I'm like, by this time this is going to happen. So I had the delay of the tenants having their 2 months, and in my mind it was just by my birthday, July, I have to have the keys. So I went on holiday a few days before my birthday, so the Monday, I went to Morocco with my boyfriend, and by the Friday when we got back, we went straight to the estate agents, picked up the keys, had my suitcase and everything, had my dad, my mum, everyone waiting at the flat outside. And they were all standing behind me, and I put the keys in, put the keys through the door, and it was just empty, because I hadn't seen it empty up until that point.
How many times had you been there?
Twice. So I took my dad first time, and then I liked it, so I took my mum second time, and that was it.
So
it was all
you put the keys in the door, you stood there with your suitcase.
Had my bags from Morocco, and my boyfriend and my dad and everyone waiting to see. And it was just so surreal, because it was like, after all of this, finally, I can walk into something and I can make it my own. The first thing I did was, I need to go buy some paint. And I just started painting everything. I just painted everything white so I could have a blank canvas. Took all the carpets out and big clean. It was interesting, which people that buy newer homes don't have to do, but it was a journey that first week.
But of course, that was one of the reasons why you got it at a good price.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I was looking for. I wanted a project, because for me, watching shows and everything, it was like, it was fun to transform something from not very nice to nice. And that's what...
I can see that your life is, I suppose mine is to some extent as well, based around property, in that you spent 7 years saving for a deposit and doing your research and preparation. Then you had the time of looking and getting the flat, and now it's
And now it's
making
continued on making it mine and then helping people make theirs as well.
Yeah.
I don't ever want it to end. It's like a constant evolving journey. Yeah.
How does it compare with what you set out to buy?
It compares a lot. It wasn't what I set out to buy. It was a lot better because I originally just thought my budget being so small that I could afford a 1-bedroom flat, and that was it.
How much was your budget?
So my budget was up to 200, and I wasn't trying to get too far out of London because, as I said before, I didn't know anyone really there. So I needed to be near transport links and all of that, which was very important because I commute into London for work every day. So I was looking for 1-bedrooms only, and that's all I could see in my budget online. So when this one popped up, it was 2 beds, it was big, really big, a balcony, just everything that was beyond what I thought I could have.
And a balcony as well.
It has a balcony and...
Why do you think nobody else spotted it? I mean, it sounds sensational.
I think it was waiting for me. That's what I think. But in realistic terms, I think it's because it looked like a big project to a lot of people, especially to young people.
Yes.
Most of my friends that are looking, they ask me, can you help me find something? And it's usually something new or something that they don't need to do anything to. And that's because that's not their interest. But my interest has always been doing something to a property, and I think that's what I've always seen people in my family do. So for me it was like the natural thing.
It must feel pretty special now to...
It does. I walk around and it's like I always look at old pictures of how it looked. Just look, this room used to look like this before.
Incredibly satisfying, and you'll carry that forever. That when you go around your flat, you go, I did that, I chose that, I made that, I built that, I painted that. That's really special.
Yeah, everything has a story.
Was there a point in the process where you really struggled? What did you find most difficult?
I think what I found most difficult was definitely searching. Even though I loved it, I was working as well. So I would have estate agents calling me throughout work and I couldn't go to the phone all the time, but I was worried that I would miss a good property or miss out because they're just going so quickly. So that was definitely difficult to get that balance of I'm at work and life still does go on, because you do get, I mean, I did get really sucked in to what I was doing and kind of forget about everything else, social life and everything. But it was just, I just need to get this done. And the other thing I found a bit challenging was getting gazumped numerous times, seeing properties that I really loved and believing that, yep, this is the one, and then somebody else comes along and it's like, sorry, somebody else has offered more than you.
Is there any part of the searching or buying process that you feel first-time buyers could particularly do with some help on?
I think first-time buyers in particular need help with the saving aspect of over-saving, because luckily I did that, not intentionally, because I ended up getting the property lower than what I was expecting, but over saving in terms of what comes next. Okay, so you found the property, but you still have to pay for your survey. You still have to pay the solicitors. You still have to pay stamp duty if, like me, I did. And then everything that comes after. If you have got a property that's a project, you need to change things around to make it livable. So I think that's something that a lot of people around me forget. It's just, this is the deposit, that's all I need. When actually there's so much more that comes afterwards.
We once had somebody come on the location programme where Kirsty was negotiating a purchase for them, and it suddenly transpired that he thought you could put the stamp duty on the mortgage. Which completely ruined the deal.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that education there is key.
There's always a lot to take on board, and it is stressful, it is emotional, it is expensive, and if people haven't done it before,
you're just finding your way.
But you're finding your way on one of the most important decisions of your life.
Which is huge thing you don't want to like mess up at all.
At Move IQ, we're running a bit of a campaign to try and lower the age of first-time buyers. So you are a sort of kind of shining example of it is possible. If it's done with forethought and planning and preparation.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely possible, and that's what I want people to know. It is going to be hard though. So yes, it's possible, but it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be smooth sailing, and you will have to sacrifice a lot of things. If you're anything like me, that could be shopping, going out to eat with friends regularly. But it is worth it. Being someone that has done it and has been in my home for a few years, I can now do all of those things again.
Yeah.
So that's what I want people to know, that it's difficult, but it's worth it.
Good for you. Any regrets? Would you have done anything differently?
I think what I would have done differently is just been a bit more patient. I think that's it, because what my impatience did was led me to properties that I had no business going to.
Okay.
Just because I was almost desperate to find something. So I think definitely remember that it's going to take time, and that's okay. You might not find your property next month. It could take a few months, it could take up to a year, but it will be the right one when it does happen.
Jade, you've done just phenomenally well to save up and to pull it off.
Thank you
say
so
you're
much.
25?
Yeah, I'm 25 now.
And you've owned it for 2 years already?
Yeah, 2.5, almost 3 years in summer.
Fantastic.
So it's flown by.
Any plans for the future? More property plans?
Definitely. I hope to buy a house next, maybe this year or next year, with my boyfriend, because he has his flat now. I encouraged him to do that.
Yeah.
And then from there...
Okay, the world's your oyster.
The world is my oyster, yeah.
Are many of your friends, are they happy and rented, or are they looking to buy? Do they still have ambitions to buy?
I think that it's definitely, by me doing it, it's put it on the forefront for a lot of people. Some of my friends are still at home because we are very young. And then some people are saving up now because they see that it is possible to do.
Yeah.
And also realising that there's properties out there if you really look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. It's about some compromise.
It is.
And actually, we can't all live in the centre of London as much as we like.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That process has happened throughout history, is that you kind of move, you need to move where your budget allows you to move, and people have moved out. That's the way of the world.
And then you do, I think a lot of people are scared about that, and they think if they move out, they're going to hate it. But you make it your own. And I always say, it's not permanent. It's your first step onto the property ladder. You don't have to live there forever. So I've been in my home almost 3 years. I'm already planning another property. Yeah. But I'll definitely keep mine though, because I think it's so dear to me. I don't ever want to let it go. But yeah,
Jade,
it's not the end.
Well done. Huge
Thank
congratulations.
You.
Very nice to talk to you.
Thank you so much, Phil.